We're going live. We're going live. We're going live. I think we need a theme tune because that wasn't a very good one, Gary.
Or a drum roll.
Oh, we're going live. Oh, we're going live. I shut myself down there. That was my alter ego there, just singing it back to me. I don't know what that was. Anyway, we are live. Yes. So hello, lovely Gary. Welcome to our lovely subscribers here. I'm just going to bring it up on my phone so that I can see the chat, because if anybody would like to leave us a comment, we would absolutely love to hear from you. Let me just turn that volume down. Perfect. So all you have to do is put it into the chat box. You can ask questions. You can say hello. I've just realized that Gary has brought his tea and I haven't. And that's the whole thing. Tea time tutorials. Well, actually, today we can get away with it because for us in the UK, it is tea time because it's now about 5:10. So it's actually tea time, but we do normally bring a drink. Have you got your builder's tea, Gary?
I have. So I've got builder's tea here. I love my builder's tea. So yeah, I've got that with me.
I would have had water if I'd remembered, but I didn't. So never mind anyway, but here we are. So if you haven't joined us before, this is the lovely Gary Mills, our artist in residence. It sounds very posh. Actually, he's just a man of all trades. He's very artistic and clever and talented. And he's just crazy because he said, Rachel, why don't I try and teach you a thing or two in this kind of crafty, sewy, artistic world that we're working in at the moment? I said, why not? Let's make a little YouTube out of it. So every Friday we go live. Do make sure that you subscribe, hit the button, hit the bell, hit all the bells. Do it all just like that. Blah, 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 because then you will be notified when we go live. We do change the time on Friday because we try and get our American viewers as well as our UK viewers or our European viewers, wherever you are in the world. And as I say, leave a comment, but it does help us if you leave comment, likes and subscribes, because the algorithm picks us up then and then spreads us across the universe. Oh, high flying a dot, bit like Madonna there. I know, me and Madonna, it's uncanny. So the first thing we always start with, I always give Gary a little quote. And then we have a little tiny discussion about what this quote means in terms of life. We like to talk about life here on this planet. And I've got an example of this quote and something that happened to me today. And then we'll do our crafty thing. And today, I have my needle and cotton. I have my envelope because I'm going to be doing some hemming today, apparently. Oh, and the time codes will be in the chat later. So if you want to just skip all this stuff and go straight to the hemming, you will be able to do so. So, Gary, the quote I have today, it's not deep and meaningful, but I just thought it was interesting, that life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it.
That's
now,
clever.
I think this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you know, quite often when you're feeling down and rubbish, or, oh, my life's awful, everything's always going wrong, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you can really feel like you have no control, but actually you have so much control. Here's a tiny little example of something that happened to me today, Gary. Very, very quick. And it's meaningless, but I'm getting my stuff out of the car boot. I'm in a rush. I've got an appointment. I get some shopping bags out. And what do I pull out? A ball. I pull out this ball, right? It's like a beach ball. And it flies past me and goes down the street. And I have to run after this ball. I'm thinking, I've got to get back in this car. I'm late for my appointment. And I'm chasing this ball. Now, instead of getting really grumpy and stroppy and moody and thinking, I'm now going to be late and I'm chasing this ball down the street, I just thought to myself, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. And I looked at this little ball. It was trying to escape. It's trying to escape. And it was just going down the street. And I thought, yeah, I'm coming after you. And I grabbed him and I put him back in the boot. And I almost said, right, enough now. Stay there and be good, and shut the boot. And I made myself laugh. And I was a little bit late to my appointment. But it didn't matter because I made myself laugh. That is the 90% of how you look at things. I know way more serious things happen in life. We've touched upon that in previous things. But that's my feeling. What's your feeling on 10% of life is what happens and 90% how we react to it, Gary?
And how you react to it and how you use what's happened to you. How you use that experience to, well, I suppose to grow, isn't it? So if you don't use it in a positive way, what can tend to happen is that actually it will come back. Then that scenario comes back again, or that little bit of life just keeps hanging around. So the best thing to do is like you did, you make it fun rather than making it like, whoa, it's a horrible day and everything's against me. It's like, this is hilarious. This, you couldn't make this up. And I have that attitude in life. Like sometimes when things start to go, like you're in a rush, you're trying to get somewhere and then something happens, you just have to think, it's life just giving you a little bit of a poke in the ribs, sort of like, you know, isn't this funny? So you just go with it, don't you? You absolutely.
Yeah, and you know as well, Gary, I think in a way, sometimes I do believe that the universe, I think we manifest things, we put things out there, but I think sometimes the universe, it gives us things to either save us, protect us, help us to grow. They do say that the worst times of your life are when you really grow, when you really learn things about yourself. And I do think, you know, maybe I was getting so stressed about this appointment that, you know, I probably would have been the best driver. So it was like the universe was going, whoa there, Nelly, come on, just have a little breather for a moment. Just get yourself out of that car and have a breather for a second. And it made me giggle. And then I was able to just carry on and be safe. So, you know, what the universe gives you, take it, run with it, try and see the positive, try and see what the lesson is, try and learn from it, and then all will be well.
Exactly.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Right, so
yes,
let's talk about our
today's lesson.
Today's lesson. So last week we were making those birds.
Your little fingerprint birds. You did your little fingerprints.
I did. I love those. And then you threw a curveball at me, talking about balls. You threw a curveball at me and said, right, you're going to be hemming next week. I was like, you what? I'm bringing me trousers. What's going on? So what are we doing, Gary?
You're going to do some hemming. So you're going to do we're just going to start you off on a very simple hem. I've sent you an envelope with some fabric in there and a piece of card. So I want you to open it, and then I'll tell you what you're going to do with all these bits. By you, have you got a needle and thread, a little pair of scissors, and have you got a few pins with you as well?
I haven't got any pins. It's ridiculous. I haven't got my sewing thing out. Hang on. I haven't got my scissors. I might have to go and get my scissors. I had scissors here a day or so.
You've been sent a list of things. And so if anyone else wants to join along, all you need is you just need a piece of fabric, really. So we're just going to do it as a sample. You just need a piece of fabric that you're going to fold the bottom up, and we're going to just do some hem stitches along there. Okay. I've got a bit of card here, so I'm going to use the bit of card.
By the way, Naomi's watching us. She said, good morning from California. Good morning.
Hello, Naomi. California.
Thank you for joining us, my love. Okay.
So are you got bits with you? Right. Okay, Rachel. So now we've got a piece of fabric like this. Okay. And I must say, I have slightly cheated on yours and mine. I've slightly pressed it already. But what I want to do is tell everybody what they need to do. So you pre-prepare your hem, first of all. So yes, you can take a tape measure, and you can use a tape measure to measure up the bottom edge, and then you can press it, and then you can put some pins in. But the best thing to do, rather than hem along like we all used to do, what I do is I create just a little template, just a piece of card. It's only thin card. You might have, it could be a cereal packet, something like that. And you actually, what you do is you cut that to the depth of your hem. Now, I've done the depth of the hem, which is quite a general depth, which is round about, for me, 4 centimeters. That's 1.5 inches as a depth. This piece of card is about 20 centimeters long, 8 inches long. It doesn't matter. It's not about the length of the card. In fact, I could do it with half the length of the card. Yeah. But that is a guide. So it helps you go, first of all, you're going to, because this is a raw piece of fabric here. Can you see that raw bit there at the bottom?
Yes.
You're going to fold that up by, you're going to fold that up by just 1/4 inch or 1 centimeter. So what I've done as a guide there, I have just drawn along the bottom of that piece of card, just a line. And do you see how at the bottom there, you can hold that onto, and you can push the fabric up. So you can, first of all, you can press it to that length.
Yes.
So you can, first of all, go around your hem and press up that raw edge by 1 centimeter or 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Then you then take the piece of card again, and then you press it up to 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters. So, and then you can use your iron. So you can go along like so, and you can use either the iron, like a warm iron, to iron along the bottom to get the crease in, or another way that you can do, if you haven't got an iron, you can actually fold it with your fingers and thumbs, like what we call finger press it, and you can actually use closed scissors, not the sharp part of the scissor, but the blunt bit at the side, and you can just rub that backwards and forwards.
So what we've done when you were saying fold up there is you've gone like this and then you've gone like that. Okay.
Perfect.
Fine. Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be like that. Okay, right. So we've prepared our fabric. We're now going to do some sewing. So we're going to thread our needle and thread. Now, ideally, because we're using cream calico here or some woven fabric, you would use a matching thread. But so that everyone can see you sewing, you're going to use a dark thread. So I want you to use a dark thread to do the sewing so people can see where you're going to go along. Okay. So we're going to thread a needle, not too thick a needle. We need a reasonable needle that you can use. So yeah, that's about right. I remember when we're threading, where we've talked about this before, is that actually
give a top tip for the threading.
Top tip. So remember what I said the other week when we were threading? We don't cut the thread from the spool to start with. We leave the thread on it because, as I've told people before, the thread is spun. When it's spun and put on the reel, it's going in a certain direction. If you get the back end of that spiral, as you're sewing, it'll keep catching up and knotting up. If you thread it, what I call the front of the thread, so straight from the spool, you'll find that it would be less likely to actually catch up. Now, I've just cut the edge, so I've got a nice crisp edge, and I don't try and thread into midair. What I do is I can thread, I either put my finger behind the eye, so I'm holding it like so, and I'm going to thread walking towards my finger, so I've got something behind it, or I can place it down and I can place it over my piece of white card, so I can see that eye. Trying to thread up here in the sky where you've got nothing is very hard to do. So all of us, like myself, we wear glasses. You wear glasses, Rachel, and you don't seem to have them on for sewing. Right, that's it. So we're going to thread a needle. So we're keeping the.
I'm already thread.
You're already thread. Well done.
I've done too much talking. I thought I'll never
too much talking, Gary. Right. So I only now double it over to just past my wrist. So just past my wrist, and then the rest of it goes to just past my elbow. Okay. And then I cut it from the spool. Okay. Because remember, I've told you before, there's no point in actually making the thread even longer. What are you doing now? You do not cut that with your teeth. I'll tell you, like, and that's so naughty. So I mean, I've sewn all my life. I think I came out sewing. I just love sewing. When I was like about 12, something like that, and I always used to do that as a kid, you know, break that and cut it with my teeth. The dentist said, "What are all these grooves in the front of your teeth?" And all had little tiny grooves where the cotton had gone through, and I'd bitten into it and just keep cutting it. He had to like file them. So be warned, and all of you out there, don't cut the thread with your teeth. Use a pair of scissors.
I just don't have any scissors with me.
So naughty.
I know you love me.
Right. Okay. So now you're going to, you've got your piece of thread, like this. And you're going to, and then what you could do, you could anchor it down. So you've already pressed it. You could put, if you wanted to, if you've got some handy, you could put a few pins just to hold that in place. Now I'm going to put the pins in. I'll show you where I've put the pins. Don't worry if you haven't got them, Rachel.
I'm sure I had pins. I've got shorts on, but I've got pins. Yeah.
Hey! So, can you see, if I show this to camera, can you see that I've not got the pins right up here on the edge? I've got them halfway through, and I've not got loads of pins. I've just got a few pins here. Yeah. Like that. So you just need a few pins just to anchor it into position.
Handy. Okay. Can't get the lid off my pins.
I'll wait for you to get the lid off your pins.
I can't actually get the lid off the pins. I don't know what's happened. Hang on, maybe it's stuck down. Wait, it's just got stuck. Hang on a minute. Just hold the line, caller. It's very serious business, this. Supposed to be teaching people here. Naomi, he's still with us in California. She's probably gone. She's probably thinking this is nonsense. Right, okay.
You've done that?
I'm pinning.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm pinning.
So this is why I have to teach. This is why I'm doing this one-to-one teaching with you, Rachel, because half of this equipment you've got around you, you've not used, have you?
No.
No.
Right. Okay. That'll do. Just
Okay.
2 pins. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you're going to start, what I normally like to start with is this at the bottom. So I'm going to lay, you can do this like with your piece on the table or whatever, but you're going to lay from the bottom. Now you've got to anchor on this thread to start with. So I'm going to anchor, for me, I'm a right-handed person and I like to work from, what am I working from? Right to left. Some people, if you're left-handed, prefer to work left to right, depends on what feels more comfortable, but you don't want to get all caught up as you're sewing. So I'm just going to anchor on. Now I'm not going to anchor through the outer bit of the fabric. I'm going to just anchor on that bit I've just folded up. So I'm going to just put my pin in and put my needle in, and I'm just going to anchor. I've not put a knot. I don't tend to put a knot in the end of my thread.
Now I have a question. I have a question actually about what you're doing, but we have just had a comment from Quilting Prolifically, sorry, who has said, I can't believe you just did that, Rachel. I think she means, I know. Listen, I only host the sewing classes. I don't teach them, luckily.
Exactly.
Right. So now when you said you anchor it in, am I going through, where am I going through on this fabric? Am I going through, like, Rachel, in the corner?
So you're going to go down, you're just, with that bit that lifts up from the hem, you're just going to anchor it on this bit of the hem. So this bit here at the bottom. So you show me where you're going to go. In there. Yes. So you're just going to do a couple
I go through all the layers.
Not all the layers, not to the front, only this front, only this flap bit here, only the hem bit, only the bit there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You just start off. So you're just anchoring it. Now you can do, on the bit that's folded up, that's where you can do all your tough sewing and you can do your anchoring. From the front fabric, or the fabric that's actually going to show, so that could be the trousers, the hem on your curtains or something like that. That's where you've got to have the finest of stitches, the smallest of stitches.
Yeah. So
we're going to go, so you've anchored onto your hem here. Yeah?
Yes, I'm anchored. By the way, it's Trudy, Quilting Prolifically. Oh no, she's taken the thing away now. She said it's Trudy. Okay, Trudy. And Naomi said, I'm at my sewing machine listening, repairing a suitcase lining. Okay, good. We like this, Naomi.
Right. So so you've anchored on. So now what you're going to do is you want to go to that, not to where the hem is, so that you can see my hem here.
Yeah.
You're not anchoring onto that anymore. What you're going to do is you're going to stitch. So if you line that up, you're going to put a tiny little stitch.
Yeah.
And literally you're just going to catch a thread or 2 threads of the outer fabric. So you're just going to pick up a couple of little threads. So you're just going to cut that, but you're not touching the lower hem. So you're not touching this lower hem piece. So you're just going a couple. So you've literally, and if you looked on the right side, you can hardly see your stitch. You can hardly see the stitch on the side, on the other side.
Okay. I'm confused. So I am hooking up this fabric on the other side, but I'm not going through it.
You're just catching 2 strands.
Yeah. Okay. Oof, I need stronger glasses. No, I've gone through it, you see.
That's all right. You can go through a little bit, but you're not catching. You're allowed to go through it. Just catch a couple of strands, but not a great big stitch that's going to show.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I've got a stitch that's showing. No.
Remember, you're working with black as well. And black, I made you work with black so you could actually see what you were doing.
I know. Foolish. Have we got 4 hours? Yeah. Okay.
This is just a quick 20-minute tutorial. Right. So you've done that.
Good. Yeah.
Good. Right. Now, you're going to stitch into the lower part. So the lower, where you've got that little hem, the bits that's come up here. And you're going to now, so you've gone you're going to go like a triangle. So you can go up, you've anchored there. Now you're going to go across, same distance, maybe it's ½ inch, or a centimetre. And then you're going to anchor onto that. Now you're going to stitch onto that hem. So you're stitching onto the hem. Like that, so across. And you're going to do double stitch on that bit, because that bit doesn't matter. You can do a big stitch on that and it doesn't matter because it's not going to see. And when you do a double stitch, that anchors it and stops it pulling away.
I think I'm doing it right.
Okay. Right.
Let me show you what I've done, Gary. Hang on. Let me just go back onto the gallery. So can you see that? Is that right?
Yeah, except for all I would say is where you've so if you look at mine, let's see if you can see mine really, if I bring that right up to camera to show you, I have done like that.
Oh,
I started here,
yeah,
I anchored on there, I then come up here, I do go through almost 1 or 2 threads. I'm literally just picking up the thread, then I come the same distance across, and then I'm stitching onto the hem.
Now, why are we doing that?
Well, because you don't, as I said, you can stitch, you're not going to stitch all the way through them all together. What you're doing is you're coming up, down, and you do 2 stitches here on the hem, and that will stop it sort of pulling, but it gives you a little bit of give and ease. So instead of a hem should always be not really tight unless you've machined it. So I mean, you can have a machined hem, but then that doesn't look so nice. If you do a hand sewn hem like this, it's much better.
Right.
I'll do one more and you'll see. And so next one is, so we've done double stitch there, and then I'm going to just do, I'm going to just do another one, and then you'll see. So I'm going to do another one, same distance, trying to keep the same distance, still catching 1 or 2 threads, and then back down onto the hem and do a double stitch. And then I'll show you that on nearer to the camera. So now, can you see that?
Yes.
So like that. So it should,
because I think you'll be impressed. It looks very similar.
Okay. Right, I'm ready. Yes. That's good.
So obviously, that would have been a point there, but I didn't quite understand.
No,
so there you are.
Now
so
you've got
double stitches
so and
with
lovely.
the thingy. Right. Okay.
So what I would say, so you're nearly there now. So they're quite sort of, you can just, I would say, size-wise, the distance of as you're going along, half the amount. So the smaller amount, because it's quite big at the moment, but then that's fine. That's you just practicing. So now just try a couple more slightly
smaller triangles.
Yeah, smaller triangles.
Right. So you would use this then, Gary, if you're not machining your things, you would use this instead. Yes. As a way of doing it. And then what this does is it roots your hem, it sews your hem, but you don't have all the stitches seen on the other side of the garment.
So if we look onto the other side, all we should really see is, and I can't see on mine, but you might see a little black dot. Now, if you're using a matching thread, you wouldn't see it at all. You really don't want to see the stitching through. So it looks like it's just beautifully done. It's just got hand stitched finish to it.
Yeah.
And it's great, you know, you could use it. I mean, you can vary it. I've given you dimensions of the depth of the hem, you know, being 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters deep. This can vary. So depending on what it is you're hemming. So maybe if it was maybe a dress skirt or a hem of a pair of, I'd say trousers, I usually do 4 centimeters, but if it's something a little bit finer, you could halve the amount of this.
Yeah.
If it was something like some interiors, like some curtains, maybe you went a little bit deeper, remembering that also the deeper you went and the more you first fold over, you know, that raw edge, you fold that over maybe double the amount, and then you do a deeper hem. That would give more weight to something. So if you're hemming curtains, you want a deeper hem and you wanted it folded over a little bit more. And then your curtains will hang better because it's got a deeper hem, it's got more weight at the bottom of something. That's why, you know, a nice 4 centimeter hem at the bottom of a pair of trousers is actually, it makes the trousers hang nicely as well.
Yeah.
You know, sewing machines today also do a similar stitch, but I still feel, even though I've used the stitch, and you have to sort of manipulate the fabric, you have to fold it over a couple of times, and you have to put it through the machine as it stitches, and then you open the fabric up and then you press it, you can still see where the stitches are, I think so. But if you do it by hand, you've got far more control.
Okay, well, let me show you mine now.
Lovely.
So that was where I started.
Yes.
And then I've gone smaller there.
Good. Right. So let's just leave it where you are now. Now, what I want you to do is just to finish by just, you will need to double stitch over at the finish, like the last one that you did, not on the outside of the fabric, but on the hem. And that will then anchor the stitch back. So you started off with an anchor, you want to finish with an anchor. So that it's not going to come undone. And then you can take your pins out, and then you can really start, then you can make an assessment of how you think that hem looks. Does it feel okay? Does it look like it's going to stay up? If you caught a thread on the hem, is it going to pull all the hem up? Excuse me, or is it going to pull just a part of that hem?
Okay, fine. Right, so if I take out my pins, Trudy said, by the way, she'd not laughed so much in ages when she saw me cutting that thread with my teeth. I'm here to serve, Trudy. I'm here to serve. So, okay, and then so now I take out the card.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you sewn the card in there? The card.
No.
That's good.
No.
Brilliant. Cool.
So if you see the other side, now
look at that.
Bearing in mind that's black cotton.
Yeah.
So you would barely see those little dots.
Do you know, that's not bad at all. And that's your first time you've done that, Rachel.
I know. I've never hand sewn a hem before.
Have you not? What do you use we're hemming things with? What do you do?
A person down the street. And money.
And money. So that's a really good point. So if you learn, like all of us out there, if we learn some of these skills, we can save money.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, at the moment we are repurposing clothes, we're doing our own repairs and things like that. So learn some really basic skills and you'll save yourself quite a lot. I mean, I hope you don't mind. How much would you pay to have your trousers hemmed? How much do you
I think
pay?
I've paid £15 before.
And you could pay more, you know, you could pay more depending on how long it's taken. So that's, you know, that is, you could go out for a meal in Witherspoons for that, couldn't you?
Oh, me and Witherspoons were like... No offence to Witherspoons. No offence.
No, I love Witherspoons. I don't think our other neighbours across the water would know what Witherspoons pubs are, but
I'm trying to think what a Witherspoons would be like. Maybe a I don't know. I was going to say like a Wendy's or something. I don't know. No, it's not quite like a Wendy's. Wendy's is more like a McDonald's, isn't it? No, it's not. Yeah. No.
It's like a pub come. I know what it is. It's a pub cross McDonald's together.
I don't think Mr. Wetherspoon would be happy with that, you know. Anyway, is that it? Is that our lesson for the day then?
It's your lesson. I'm really pleased. Very good. You've done, amazing. Very, very good. So that's, and if anyone else out there wants to have a go at doing just a hand stitched hem, and don't worry if it doesn't work out right, just use a scrap piece of fabric. But remember, the trick is to have a piece of card that you can then press against so that you can get an even start. So that's what you want. You want it all pressed up, and then you can start, and then you can start with your stitches. And so try it with a different color thread to start with so that you can see, can you see the stitches through to the other side? If you can, you need to try and make them a little bit finer. Inside, you can double stitch over inside because it doesn't, on that bit that the hem that you've pulled up, that's fine. But it is going between the hem you've turned up and the outer fabric. Hem you turned up, outer fabric. Hem you've turned up, outer fabric. And if you think of like little, almost like little really flat little triangles, up and down like that.
Yeah, that's very good. I've never seen that technique. I've never heard of it. I've never done it. That is completely new to me. Other people may be thinking, well, I've been doing that for years, but I've never done that. And so I have learned something new. And there will be people who are new to sewing, who will have also never done that or tried it. Can I just say as well, just on a sort of mindfulness thing, that actually, Gary, it's a very therapeutic thing to do, isn't it? I'm loving our little sessions because it is 20 minutes of just not sitting at my computer and answering emails or editing the films or, you know, organizing stuff. It is just 20 minutes of you time, which is lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much. And thank you for the comments that we've had here as well. Yes. And so Naomi said, I like the herringbone stitch to hem knits as well.
Ah.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see how that would work, actually. I can see how that would work with the knit, and you could catch the threads quite easily, couldn't you? And then, like
also you've got the give, you see, so it's got movement to it. So that's what you need with knit. So you need to have a zigzag type approach to sewing when you're using knits. If you ever sew with a sewing machine on stretch jersey and things like that, you always put it on like a zigzag, and that keeps it so it will still stretch and doesn't snap. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Naomi. And Trudy said, well done, Rachel. Thank you, Gary. Great tips with the card as well. Yes, exactly. And Naomi said, you did very well, Rachel. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Naomi. I do try. You know, it's just a bit of fun. Every Friday afternoon, you know, we're just having a bit of fun here, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. A bit of mindfulness, a bit of fun, a laugh and a giggle at me cutting cotton with my teeth. That's so going to be edited and put onto Instagram stories.
No, it's not. You keep that in, because I think everyone needs to know you don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not editing this now, it's just live. So if you have enjoyed us, Naomi and Trudy, please give us a like. Anybody else who's watching this, please give us a like, because it's the algorithms. It helps us spread the word. And do join us on the next one. Talking of which, Gary?
Yes?
What is the next week's exercise, please?
Wow. Okay, so I'm still challenging you, and I know through conversation you've got a sewing machine tucked away somewhere, haven't you?
Are you kidding me? We are going up the scale here. Yes, I do have a sewing machine. I've got to learn how to thread it now.
Okay, so what do you want? I could just do 20 minutes of you threading up your machine and learning how to thread the machine, or I could show you and get you to do not just a seam, which I am sure you have done a seam. You have, haven't you?
I've made a bag. I've made a bag, but badly. I've done it all badly. So tell you what, why don't we start with the basics? Why don't we get the machine and let's have a little talk around the machine?
I love that. Yeah.
Why don't you look at the buttons and go, right, well, this is what this means. Tension. What does that mean? Sort out your tension. For me, that means take some headache pills. But what does it do when it comes to sewing? So why don't we have a little basic beginner's guide to the sewing machine?
I'd love that. So we'll do that. So I won't take you too far. We'll do that in a few weeks' time, and I'll get you to do a few seams. Let's just get that sewing machine out, and let's just go through it and talk what each bit does, from the bobbin to threading the needle again to moving the dial so you've got different stitches. Let's just do that. Let's keep it really simple. So you can, I'll tell you what, I won't even look at that machine before we meet again next week. So you get it out all ready to go, and then I will talk you through it. I'll have my machine with me as well. I'll use one of my basic machines, and we can both compare machines and talk about all the bits that you need to think about.
Fabulous. Love it. Okay, that's going to be, and that will be next Friday, won't it? We will be live next Friday. And what should we do the same time next week? I quite like this time.
That 5 o'clock suits me next Friday.
Yeah, so 29th, the 29th,
right,
on Friday at 5 o'clock. It's in the diary. So
5 o'clock.
It's going to take me a week to set up the camera on the sewing machine and everything. Make sure everything's got a good view. I haven't got much space.
So everyone out there, do tell whoever you think might be interested on coming along and just learning a little bit of basic, get to know your sewing machine, as in like, where do I put the bobbin? And it can be as basic as that. I'm going to get Rachel to really work through her machine and get to know it. So tell everyone, come and join us, 5 o'clock. Yeah, and ask your questions, of course, next week as well. Yes. Lovely. Okay. And of course, if you're watching this after the 29th of July, then it will be in the playlist, because our playlist is Tea Time Tutorials, and goodness knows you might see this in 7 years and there might be 86 of these things there. By the time you watch this, you might be able to go all the way to the end. I'll be making a quilt, won't I, Trudy? Yes, I will. I'll be long arming. That's what I'll be doing. It's not going to happen. Right. Lovely Gary, lovely Naomi, lovely Trudy, and lovely anybody else who has watched. By the way, if anybody would like to buy us a coffee, I'm just saying, under the link, buyasacoffee.com, because we are doing this for nothing, although we are doing it for joy. Spread the joy. But it would be nice if you'd like to buy us a bobbin of thread. Lovely. Thank you, Gary. Thank you to everybody else. I'm now going to end the broadcast, and we will see you all next time for Tea Time Tutorials. Bye.